Welcome back to GMNC. Before we proceed with Leticia Cox, I just want to say hi to Sharon Sinclair, Natalie Skipper, and Marissa Willems. And thank you guys for tuning in to GMNC. Call your friends, call your buddies, tell them they're missing out. And here she is. Hello.
Hi, son. How are you?
Good in yourself.
I missed you last week.
Me too. I was about to say that, you see, we think alike. So tell me about this Ghost Mountain story, girl.
Right. So last week I couldn't come because I was away on a trip with somebody actually in the studio, kind of motivated me to find out more about this, legendary Ghost Mountain.
Because I also wanted to hear about this story. Eh?
Yeah, no. So I went to Msuki, so it's in the Zululand, north of Shishlui, and there's a beautiful mountain area. So it's actually a big area called the Lebombo Mountain. So it's not the Ghost Mountain; just belongs to that mountain, the Lebombo. And so I wanted to find out what is all about this legend. And like the legend goes, some people will talk about a ghost who lives in the mountains that you can hear her. There's a woman. Then there's other people who said that actually no, there's the screaming of warriors that died during a battle many years ago. Yeah. So I went, and the best thing to do is to climb that mountain.
You see, that's why you didn't call me and say we must go, because I'm not a fan of exercise.
Yeah, so you need to get into the, learn from the Zulus exactly what's going on and the legend is about. Yeah. So it all started, first I wanted to say, when you look at the mountains, the first one, the first thing they told me, if you look, especially at nighttime, when the sunset or the sunrise, you see this beautiful shape of the mountain, the Ghost Mountain. And I don't know if it's playing the picture, but if you see from the left is a hair, then it's a head of the Zulu woman lying down with the breast and the feet. Wow. And that would also, they say, is a female mountain because it's the shape of a woman lying down. Anyway, so the legend goes that in the 1890s, when King Shaka was alive and kicking, he actually fought another tribe, and which was run by the Gaza family. And the Gaza family used the mountain as a burial site. During that time, the King Shaka actually fought them out and they kicked them out of the mountain. So the Gaza family, they actually have to fled all the way, crossing the river, the Nkuzi River, and went to Mozambique. Yeah. But the legend said, not the legend, the history tells that the Gaza family has quite a belief that they still have to use the mountain as a burial site for their chiefs. So although they're being kicked out, and they still will bring the chiefs from all the way from Mozambique, about 1,000 kilometers far away, and they will bring them back for a ceremony and bury them in the mountain. Wow. In some of the caves, the secret caves. Anyway, so that was one of the first history that I learned. Years later, about 60 years later, so in the 1870s, there was another well-known battle where it lasted about 6 months, and through the 6 months, there were the British Army colony trying to divide the tribes, the Zulu tribes, into 13 different chiefs and different tribes. So they fought, and they actually wanted them to fight against each other. So they will conquer afterwards. So during all those 6 months, chiefs and different warriors fought against each other until there were 2 left. Yes. And one was Chief Dini Sulu, and the other one was... And like I said, forgive me because I have extremely respect for the Zulu culture, and I don't want to say the names wrong, so I don't want to savage their names. The last 2 tribes, Zulu tribe, they fought against each other, but the Nisulu was actually losing. He knew that the others had the upper hand, so he joined forces with the British. And other Europeans, and because they had, they were armed with firearms. That was it. It was a massacre. So over the, that very famous battle was known because there were bodies all over. And the legend said that you could find years later remains of those warriors from the bottom of all the way to the top to the mountain. So anyway, but we still have to come back to the first cultural event, where the Gaza family still was bringing their chiefs that died to bury them. And how do they do it? Because they were afraid of the King Shaka ruling, they will come and travel at nighttime.
What?
They will bring their chiefs wrapped up and mummified, and then they will do a proper burial where they were singing. And because it was a nighttime, they used to use man-made torches.
Oh.
So when people talk about sounds
Yes.
and flickering lights,
Yes.
now you understand where this is coming. And years later, after the second battle, then that you remember, other conquerors and other missionaries came to those mountains.
Yeah.
And they could hear singing,
Oh,
and they could see lights.
Yeah.
So they thought that they were the sounds of those warriors that are dead.
Oh.
And so it's quite interesting. You need to get a whole picture before you understand
that what was
the
going
legend
on.
of the Ghost Mountain. So maybe there's a woman
Maybe there
ghost in the mountain. Maybe is those warrior spirits still crying. But so that was the Ghost Mountain legend.
And I just always wanted to find out about this legend because when one of our colleagues went there, she was like, oh my gosh, you know, it's this legend. I'm like, okay, now you know something that I don't. Now we need to find out. And I'm glad that you actually went, and I'm glad that I didn't go with you because I don't do ghosts and I don't do exercise.
No, it was very interesting. And there was one more interesting fact that actually there's no in the books. And one of the local, a local guy said to me, the Nkusi word, so the river, which everybody knows. So that word comes from when the King Shaka trying to, he was not even satisfied by kicking the Gaza family out of the mountains.
Yeah.
He actually wanted to cross the river and follow them and terminate them.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he was sort of brutal.
And
But the legend goes, or according to the locals, that every time he tried to cross the river to look for the Gaza family, the river was full.
Oh.
And this happens about 6 times or more. So King Shaka decided that there was a warning, that the river was giving him a warning not to cross the river. And apparently Nkusi, if I pronounce it correctly, means warning. So the Nkusi River.
Oh, now it makes sense.
That was quite the, I like those
things like that. And I love the fact that you went there. This is what's interesting about Lens Traveler, guys. She goes and takes pictures, and then within those pictures, she actually finds a story. And that now it's the picture and the story together, and it makes sense.
Yeah, no, it was, imagine being up there. There's more caves that I wanted to explore, which are actually the secret burial caves.
Yeah.
But I went once to a few where they actually used them to stay and to live during the battle, and when they were using them as their refugees. So it's an absolutely beautiful area. Wild but beautiful, and like I say, if you go to the top, it's tough, I promise you, when it's such a reward when you get to the top, and even just the way up there, you meet other people still leave, you see all the homestays from far, and you learn about it. So
I was just about to say, I'm sure you learn a lot from someone who's not really born in South Africa. But you know what? The Zulu culture has got such a beautiful stories in and around KwaZulu-Natal, and I'm sure you were having fun to experience them.
Yeah. So, but I will, because like I said, I'm afraid I don't want to savage the culture of Zulu with pronouncing it wrong. So in my website will put the whole story with spelling the proper names and the more details about the legendary.
So your website, you mean the Lens Traveler website?
Yes.
So guys, there you have it, the full story about Ghost Mountain. You will find it on Lens Travel. Thank you very much for coming through. It's always a pleasure to see you. Well, there you have it, folks. A story that is one that you cannot miss. But after the ad break, we're going to be speaking to Taryn, and she's from Mad Haters Party Shop, and she's going to be talking to us everything and anything that has to do with balloons after this.